and welcome to the Pope St. John the 23rd Seminary's world-famous lawn party. Good evening to Cardinal Sean O'Malley, all the bishops, I think there's several here, monsignors, priests, friars, sisters, brothers, and deacons. Welcome to the teachers and the professors, the caring staff, the myriad family, the dear friends, returning seminarians, and of course, first years. Did I miss anybody? The lawn party is not only here to raise money, but to welcome the first years to their unique home for the next 4 years. One of the joys of the seminary are the stories of how these men, committed men, wound their ways over diverse, inspiring, and difficult paths to get here. Over the years, I have loved listening to their stories, often with a sense of wonder. Upon reflection of this, I thought of my own story and how the seminary and I became friends. Just to let you know, my story may be the most exciting one. I thought you would be thrilled to hear it. Father Kiley told me that I could only speak for 5 minutes. Right. Not only that, when I said it would only be 5 minutes, I crossed my fingers. I have always lived in a man's world. I had a great dad, Bruno Roessel, who sent me to college and gave me a work ethic and a lot of support in whatever I did. He died at 93. I am my father's daughter, so I expect to be here next year. I have 4 incredibly different and unique brothers, Paul, Brian, Mark, and Carrie. They would be here this evening, but I could only get one of them paroled in time. And that's my brother Brian, right there. Raise your hand, Brian. You know, the courts have no sense of humor. But right, now that you've raised your hand and people can identify you, they don't have to look at the poster. But in the meantime, I'm just making a subtle suggestion. Look who's here. And he knows people. We can get you help. But I digress. For 47 years of my life, I was married to Raymond Aloysius Kelleher, a fearless, reckless, funny, kind man whom I loved with every fiber of my being, and I'm happy to say he loved me back. So you can see that I lived and laughed and fought and got annoyed with and enjoyed and spent time with 6 of the most wonderful men I know. Meanwhile, my married life was busy with Raymond, my dad, and brothers. And my career, first as a psychologist and then as a financial advisor. When Raymond died unexpectedly at age 75, sending me into a downward spiral of depression, loneliness, and anger at you know who, his death was such a shock, I was convinced that I never again would have a happy day in my whole life. My thoughts were black. There were no prayers to assuage me and show me a different path. My pain never let up. But as the saying goes, God works in mysterious ways. And what God did was introduce me 11 months after Raymond died to Father William Pallardi, a priest whose name Raymond and I knew for years because Father Pallardi's cousin Jerry Thornell, was a dear friend of ours. We knew that Father Bill was connected to a seminary, and Jerry was just so proud of him. As life moved on, Jerry's wife, Karen, died after a long illness, and suddenly, 6 months later, Raymond died. So first I lost a dear friend, and then my husband, and then Jerry, who was also our dear friend, was diagnosed with leukemia and was dying. I went to Tufts Medical Center to say goodbye to Jerry, and when I walked into his hospital room, who was sitting there but Father William Pilati, the famous Father Bill that I had heard of for so long. As we sat together, Father Pilati and we told stories of Jerry and Karen, and I told him of my intense pain for Raymond. He was, as you would expect him to be, kind and thoughtful and compassionate, and he invited me to come to the seminary to attend Mass and have something afterwards. As we spoke about the seminary, I think I asked Father Pilati how many men were here in formation. Information is not a term that I knew, but I use it now because I know what it is. He told me there was something like 40 or 50 men here, and I thought, 40 or 50 men. Who do I love the most in the world? Men. I said, Father Pilati, I'm in. I am all in. A world full of men, lots of men. Men who are funny, smart, giving, and as any woman would tell you, clueless, but willing to share and be helpful. I thought to myself, here was a place where I could possibly find help and relief from my pain, and maybe see light at the end of the tunnel. Plus, I needed all the prayers I could get, and these men know how to pray. And now, over the years, I have made friends with many seminarians who are proud now to hear Father before their name. Meanwhile, as my life began slowly to have some joy in it and some relief from my pain, a seventh man arrived. He was unexpected and unannounced, and is now my husband, Bob Gonzalez. He is also smart, funny, and God is he clueless. We met by chance in 2015 at a musical to which I had gone alone, and he had gone alone since he was widowed also in 2012 after 50 years of marriage. I was standing myself at intermission in the balcony at the railing looking down, and quite frankly thinking of my late husband Raymond, when all of a sudden quietly I heard a male voice in my ear saying, "How do you like the show? Is he smooth or what?" After almost a 2-year courtship, we married in 2017, so that next February will be our 5th anniversary. Count them, 5 years, and am I happy? And who do you think performed the ceremony? Could it be no other than my friend, Father Bill Pillardi, who, with another friend of mine, Father Peter Adamski, who was a seminarian at the time, but also on the altar. No second thoughts for this marriage. This marriage was blessed in cement. As for now, in being married later in life, Bob and I find it amusing when people ask with great incredulity, why would you get married now? We were 76 and 81 at the time. You can do the math as to where we are now. The constant questions are, why didn't you just live together? Keep your lives simple. What's so great about marrying now? Well, first, we're not dead. Second, we didn't come here tonight on the bus from the Willows Grove, and we won't be having some Jell-O tonight before we go to bed. In fact, I might have a little vodka, which is my poison of choice. It helps me sleep better. And lastly, and most importantly, we don't shack up, as the kids say. We get married. We're Catholic. As the life of the seminary moves along with changes, Father Pillardi was reassigned to St. Agatha's in Milton, which is the parish that I grew up in. I still have the picture of my first Holy Communion in my cute little white dress. I was so adorable, and am still. I also married my Ramy there in 1965. Meanwhile, Father Brian Kiley ably stepped into the rector position. I'm also delighted to call him my dear friend. He too has welcomed me, and I never miss a chance for Mass and/or brunch from the 5-star kitchen here in the seminary. Meanwhile, I guess you could say I'm pretty entrenched here, which has brought and continued to bring me so much happiness. And I know that the seminarians whom I have gotten to know and care about will bring much needed life to whatever religious situations they are resigned to. So let's hear a shout from the first years. Where are you, first years? And where are the second years? There you go. And the third years. Woo! And the fourth years. Go get them! Go get them, Catholics! What do you think, Father Kiley? Did I keep the deadline?